Hello everybody, it's Thea and welcome back to Garden Goddess Tarot. And today is our tarot roundup video. I haven't done one in a while. Lots has been happening. I should really put it out there just so I don't get swamped. Actually no, I'm already swamped. I'm already whelmed. I'm thoroughly whelmed with everything that's been going on in the last like 3.5, 4 weeks. And we just need to spit it out there into the universe so I can catharsis, right? Let it out so you can move on to the next thing. So that's what we're doing today. Yeah. And on the flip fun side, we could talk about tarot as well as other exciting and fun tarot adjacent activities and experiences. So where do we start? Such fun. Okay, I think I'll start let's start with tarot. We'll do the garden update last, maybe. Like, even that, like, I'm thinking of all the things I have to talk about. And I'm like, garden update. I will just quickly say, though, that the garden, it's been so dry. Today's raining. Thank goodness. There is water falling from the beautiful sky. Hence the sweater. It's, like, mildly cool outside. I'm, like, roasting, but I will take any opportunity I can to put a sweater on. So, anywho, it's been dry. So the garden has been crispy, crunchy, and our water... We've had serious problems with our well pump and or other situation. Might have fixed it now. Anyway, there was just a lot of water, or not water, air. Air in the lines. So when you turn on the tap, it just spat all the time. And I'm like, I don't want to make this worse by like taxing the water supply by watering the garden all the time. So the vegetable garden got water, but the rest of the garden did not. So it's looking a bit tired. I need to go in and edge and cut back and weed really bad. But it's just been super hot and I've been crazy busy, which is odd for me. I usually don't like being crazy busy. So it just doesn't happen. So the garden does not look the way I like expect it to. So that's probably why I'm slightly reluctant to share, but I'll give you a quick panorama as well as maybe some up close footage of some cute flowers. But just know that it's not where I want it to be at the moment. And that's entirely my fault, but that's okay. Because it's a garden and it'll do, gardens be gardening. Gardens just do what they're gonna do. Things wanna grow. Weeds also wanna grow. They're plants. Weeds are just plants that we decided we didn't like in the garden for one reason or other, that they spread easily, that the flowers aren't as pretty as we want them to be, you know? So I'll let them enjoy their existence a little longer before I rip them out of the ground. I'm all powerful in the garden, it's hilarious. But anyway, okay, that's the garden. So tarot and what I've been up to lately. For the last month, Leo season. Hi. Leo season has been great. It has been full on fire. It has been confidence, abundance, embracing desire and pizzazz and oomph and just like, and like the lust card from the Thoth deck, that's entirely what I was embodying all month. Like just opulence and the zest of life. I was just like soaking it in, really. Lots was happening. I was crazy busy, but I was appreciating every moment as it came by and just like reveling in it, really. So that was the energy overall of the month. And it's been a time. So it's also my birthday month. I will give a heads up on that. August, I'm a Leo baby, if I haven't said 8 million times already, because Leos have a habit of letting everybody know. Anyway, that aside, tarot and what I've been up to regarding what I've been using. I've been kind of sticking to a daily 2-card pull pretty, and by sticking to, I mean like I wasn't trying extra hard to just do it. I just wanted to do it and it worked out great every time, and it was very satisfying and simple and not too taxing. It involved the Tantric Dakini Oracle as the first primary card. I talked about this, I think, in my last tarot update video. It's an oracle, but it has like a loose tarot structure. It doesn't have any court cards, but it has the aces through 10s of each of the minor suits as well as the major arcana, plus 3 bonus cards, which are past, present, future, which I don't mind. I kind of like. And like, they're not particularly labeled their suit, but there is a rough association. The majors are a little bit more clearly tarot. The minors are just kind of like roughly the element and like a vague essence of the energy of the tarot card, but I'll take it because the themes presented in this deck are just so fun and just a really great way to explore the universe. That card was last time, but in the way my brain likes to kind of, you know, dance around it. It gives concepts and perspectives and kind of, what's the word? Not really mythology, but just like you know, different cultural ideals, different lenses through which to look at the same situations, and it's just nice. It's called the Tantric Dakini Oracle. It's not, like as I said before, not particularly rooted in a particular school of Tantra, but it does have the loose themes of it. So I don't know anything about Tantra. I will be the first one to say that I don't know anything about Tantra, but I enjoy what I've been learning from this, but I'm not using it as a definitive tool about it. If I want to learn about Tantra, I will do it more specifically from better resources, but the loose concepts that kind of smush the two variations of it together are fun and nice, and just a great way to, you know, start my day. It's a collage deck. It's from the 70s. It's kind of wacky, which I like. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but there are serious concepts, which I think is the line that a lot of tarot and oracle decks are trying to like bridge, right? Where it's like, we're fun, but also like kind of serious, but not too serious that you find us boring, you know? And this one rides that line really, really well. So I've been enjoying this. This is my primary focus. There's some good ones that I've pulled that resonated with me. This one, the Hermit's a great card. It's called The Way Through, and it's the key to the universe. Like, come on, so good. What else is a good one? Oh, she came up, Maya, how she spins. Maya is also the name of the mother of Hermes, so. But different, another Weaver Threads of Fate sort of situation there. What else came up? Oh, the Deep End came up for me too. That one was very fun to explore with my brain. Yeah, no, it allows the work. It gives you opportunity to do the work. Like, there are some harder cards in here that thankfully most haven't actually come up for me. This one came up. As above, so below. Ubiquitous, delicious, and a beautiful fuchsia flower. Super cute. Oh, and a monkey puzzle tree! Any deck with a monkey puzzle tree in it, I love. They're just so fun. Anywho, and that one's Tree Spirit or Yakshi, which again, I should probably do some more research about. Oh, and this one. This is the Pentacles card. I believe it's the 5. No, or the 6. Anywho, it's Asylum, and it's just a horse in a tree, and it's about, you know, stepping away, finding safety in weird places, and yeah, it's great. So good. And I had this one too. There's a Caduceus Mercury card, which we love, which is the Magician. Obviously. So the Tantric Dakini Oracle is a classic for good reason, and it's just been too easy to pull just one card in the morning or evening when I decide to do my little thing. I don't usually journal about it either. I just think, just fun, brain practice, you know. And I've been mixing that one with this deck, which I have things to say about this deck. This was one of the first oracles I bought. I never talk about this deck on this channel. I've had this for like a few years at this point. And it's the reason I don't talk. It's a great oracle, but the reason I don't talk about it is I don't agree with the creator's behavior, the creator's other particular works, or just how they handle situations in general. There was lots of drama surrounding them, this deck, other decks. It's just a disaster. But I absolutely love Arthur Rackham's artwork and have an emotional connection to it, re-childhood, and the keywords on this are actually really good. As a wordsmith myself, I appreciate good words, and I'm definitely coming at this one with a death of the author perspective. I purchased it before I knew any of the shenanigans, but that's not to say that I'm going to chuck the deck away because I know about them. So this deck is comprised of Arthur Rackham's original artwork and has a keyword on it. It's in the deck. It's called the Rackham Oracle. I'm sure you can look it up if you're really curious. It's glossy, it's gilded, you can pick your backs. I like using it, and I feel bad just kind of using it in secret without saying anything just because of this one person that I've never met or don't know. So I'm going to say that I use it because there's no point in keeping secrets. I use it. I use it regularly. I use it with the Tantric Dakini Oracle. It matches a surprising amount of things. You can use it with the Rackham Tarot if you don't mind occasional repeat images popping up. It's great. It is no better, it's different. It's an oracle, whereas the Rackham Tarot is a tarot. They are completely different things. Both of them are capitalizing on the work of Arthur Rackham, so both are equally valid in my professional opinion. So, anywho, that's how I feel about that one. And I enjoy using it, and I have been pretty much every day for a month. So if I'm that committed to a stack of cards, I'd like to let you know about it. So anywho, brave, but there we have it. The Rackham Oracle have been using pretty regularly this month. So yeah, those are the ones I've kind of stuck to. I've been using the Asherah Tarot a lot as well. Oh my gosh, this one has just been, whoops. That deck has absolutely just been filling my emotional cup. It's tiny. I've got the bridge size one. It's not here right now because it's in my purse because it goes with me everywhere. It's kind of, it's replaced the Morgan Greer as my go everywhere deck. The Morgan Greer is actually right here, and we'll talk about that one in a second. I got a new bag for it, which is part of the conversation. But anyway, the Asherah Tarot is just super portable. It's great. It's fun. It gives me those thothy vibes. It doesn't have the thoth keywords on it, but it's actually a good way to practice and test to see if I know them. And I know more than I think I do, so that's fun to find out. I took it with me to downtown Toronto. I did a big, exciting, scary thing, and I went to downtown Toronto for the first time in 2.5 years, and there was a concert that I really, really wanted to go to. And it was my boy Orville. I love him. Okay, Orville Peck is one of my favorite artists, creators, masterminds, beautiful genius, delicious to look at human beings, knows how to put on a show, mysterious, Canadian, am in love. And he was coming to Toronto, and I'm like, no, it's pandemic, I don't want to go into a room full of scaredy like strangers and have them all be singing around me and it just be danger. But I got past that. I am thoroughly vaccinated. It was fine. Talked myself up. I'm like, if you don't go to this, you are going to regret it for the rest of your life. It was his first big tour, playing at Massey Hall, which is one of my favorite venues. It's an epic Canadian venue, which so many wonderful musicians go to. They've just renovated it. It's a delight. So I had to go. So I bought myself a ticket. And I went by myself because none of my friends wanted to go. Which is fair. It's a very niche genre. Gay cowboy pop country. it's a thing. So anyway, I went by myself and I had the best time, and I brought the Asherah Tarot with me. Because I was by myself, I just sat down in my cute little seat next to a post. I laid out my little cloth on my lap, and I did a quick 3-card, kind of gauging the energy of the room before it started, and it was just delicious. I really like the opening band too. I went down after the show and talked to the lead singer of the opening band for a while, and turns out he's playing around here again, so we might go and see them too. And it was so great, and I feel like alive again. It's like, oh, I get to be human and go and do things. What a concept. So for my birthday, I bought myself some tickets to go see Orville Peck, and it was entirely worth it. And I sang the whole time, and it was a delight. Yep. And I'm sure he looked at me one time. I'm sure everybody said that. They go to a concert, like, oh, he looked at me. He waved. Anyway, that was so fun. I'm like embarrassed, blushing. So cute. Anyway, that was fun. That was an experience I will not forget ever. That was, yeah, and the Asherah Tarot is its tie as well, so super cool. I've also been doing a great deal of readings for the public as well, through work, as well as there was also another event that I did at a music festival in a small town called Colburn, here in Ontario. And it was just like a outdoor music festival thing, and they had a few booths set up for tarot readers and psychics, so I'm like, yep, let's do it. And it was great. That day, I worked my butt off. I did 25 tarot readings in a row in like over the course of 4 hours. I was absolutely slammed. There was a lineup. I had a lineup. People were lining up to get a reading from me. I felt so #validated. It was so great. So much fun. Everybody had the best time. I just did a cheeky 3-card for the most part for everyone, plus the shadow card, maybe a little bit do this, don't do this, just for funsies. Worked out well. Got to know a whole bunch of people, and you won't believe this, but the only deck I used the entire time was this one. I brought a bunch of other ones, but once I got into like the swing of things, into the flow of things, my trusty Rider-Waite Smith, This is the Centennial Edition, which has become my Reading for Others deck. It gets cleansed thoroughly, it gets beat up, it gets thrown around, it gets, you know, just, it's the workhorse, it's the job deck. And honestly, it did a great job, and classic for a reason. And like I said, I'm biased because this was my first deck as well. I had the yellow box version, but this is the one I know best, and I can read for hours straight with it without really feeling the need to grab another one. Not to say that I do not like having all of my other ones. When I'm doing readings for myself, I like to diversify a little bit, but the general public, I will say this up and down, doesn't care which deck you're gonna use. They just want tarot reading. They just want answers to questions. They want to talk some stuff out. They want to connect on a human level. And this, again, is the ubiquitous image that kind of lives in our collective unconscious of what tarot is in this part of the world. And it's what people kind of recognize, but at the same time, they're not even really looking at them. They're looking at me. And I'm like looking inside the inside of my head, looking for those messages to come through. So it's a classic for a reason. Love it to death. And it's the one I use when I'm reading for other people. Now, when I'm reading, that was just at that one, where did the bag go? So that was that particular event. So I did 25 readings one day with this deck. A champion. I was so proud of myself at the end of that one. I'm like, I'm so exhausted, but I did so good. Yeah. When I'm doing readings at the shop, I do tend to pull in an oracle at the end, just because it's a bit slower pace. It's a bit more people come with specific problems when they've booked a specific reading, as opposed to just stumbling across me at a festival and being like, oh sure, I'll go have a tarot reading, you know? I tend to use this, the Illuminated Earth, with the Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial, just because this is the greatest wait a minute, the greatest oracle ever, but it's one of the best for just getting it out, clarifying, for wrapping things up. It has beautiful symbolic representation. A lot of people really resonate with the images as well. And it works so well with the Rider-Waite-Smith. They may not match perfectly aesthetically together, but they do the thing. And this was in one of my only 10 decks, and I think, like, I can't be without it. It is so good. So Claire Mack, an artistic genius, knows a thing or two about the kind of keywords to use in an oracle that are expansive as well as not too vague. Like, they're specific enough that you can string them together to make unique messages every time. Like, you're not gonna get the same message each time. Like, some oracle decks, you just pull a card and it's the same message every time. And it's kind of like, how is this happening? I have, like, you know, there's 50 cards in here. Why is the same message coming through every time? And I blame lack of diversity of theme in a deck. Like, the deck is too cohesive. It needs to be a bit more thematically diverse, you know? So that's what this one does. It's great. It's all purpose. This is like the Phillips screwdriver of tarot decks. And the Rider-Waite-Smith's the hammer. If we're gonna do tool analogies. So, recognizing my absolute love for Claire Mack's piece of artistic genius that the Illuminated Earth Oracle is, the Faceted Garden came back really quickly, which is her second oracle deck, for a quick second edition, like, pre-print run. So coming September, I think, which is next month, she's gonna release a bigger batch of them to her Etsy store, but she had a small batch available earlier. Coincided with the birthday. I thought, let's do it. I like the other one so much. I use it so much. This one basically justifies itself. It's a little different. There's less cards, it's gilded, and it's not the rose petally. It's that, like, slippery matte that makes the nice shoosh 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 noise. Here, I'll show you. It's that, like, papery matte noise, but the cards are, like, still stiff and nice, and it shuffles, like, it bridges, riffle shuffles really well. I'll show you. A delight. I feel like her art style evolved a little bit with this one. I've only had this for maybe a week at this point, so don't, like, I'm not, this isn't a particularly thorough review. I just know that I like her art. Her choice of keywords are always great. And this one has a nice garden Garden of the World kind of theme, and that's kind of on the nose for me, is it not? So I thought I'd give it a try. I still believe I like the Illuminated Earth better. It's a little bit more all-encompassing, but this one is also a treat. But yeah, I feel like her art style evolves a little bit. It's a little bit more refined. The textures are a little bit different. There's a little bit more clarity in it. It's not as muddy. But it's absolutely beautiful. It's fruitful. There was two extra cards in this edition as well. Fruitful and fallow. So yeah, you get the darkness. Not necessarily darkness, because fallow isn't necessarily bad. It just means a pause. It means a time to recuperate our resources. A time to let just let the universe replenish you, make you fertile again, because right now you are a little bit stripped away of your nutrients, you know, like fallow ground. The conceptual parallels to what goes on in nature is just so easy to draw on with decks like this, and I adore. See, there's fallow right there. So yeah, it doesn't feel particularly ominous or bad, just, you know, different take. So that is the Faceted Garden Oracle by Claire Mack. And I'm excited to get to work with that one all the time. Not seasonally. That one's going to be an out all the time deck, I wager. So yeah. Etsy. Where you can get that one. Neato. Ooh, something else that I did recently this month. I just finished it actually. I made Kippy. There was a whole video series on my channel. If you're at all interested, I highly recommend you go watch because I find it quite fun. But I have a little demonstration here for you. This is my Kippy. This is a tiny little rabbit poop. It is a... It's my perfect temple incense. So this is based on an ancient recipe used in ancient Egypt and ancient Greece that was written down and documented, translated various times, and made its way to me so that I could write it down and give it a try with some of my own ingredients too. So I stuck to the recipe as close as I could to the historic one. I did the process. I did the, however, like it was like actually I think it was like a 16-day process in total for me. But I made the thing, and this is it. And it smells so good. It's a pelleted incense that has a date raisin honey type sticky base to it. And then it's filled with ground resins, woods, mostly resins and woods, and then some berries and a few other things. But yeah, that's this. So I'm gonna put it on right now. So yeah, sacred temple incense. It smells like warm, woody. Reminds me of school sometimes. I don't know. It's like it goes through phases. You'll get different hits occasionally. It has a lot of... It's a complex scent. And it's a delight. And I absolutely love it. And I love like scrying in the smoke of it too, where I'll like watch the smoke and see. I saw a face in it one time. I was so excited. It was thrilling. There was like a big nose and everything. It's gonna be great. It's gonna do wonders. This delicious incense. So that's my Kippy. If you want to watch how I made it, there's a 5-video series. It's quite fun actually. Put a lot of work into that. But anyway, a delight. And I like to think that this recipe of pelleted incense was burned at the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, which I've been to. It's a great place actually. I need to go back, bring my deck with me, but yeah, it feels right, fills my heart. It felt like something I needed to do when I did it. And yeah, it's beautiful. So, that's my Kippy. I will leave it in the background there to smoke away. And yeah, super fun. So, glad I did that. I'm proud of myself. Wee bit of pride there. Speaking of deadly sins, it was my birthday, so I bought some decks. I go through phases, man. And this was... I don't know, a lot of things just kind of spoke to me, and none of them are particularly ridiculous. A lot of them are, like I got the Faceted Garden Oracle, which makes sense with what I like. I also picked up this Oracle, which has been on my wish list for like a year, and it always just gets bumped down to the bottom and never buy it because there's always something else that's a bit more interesting. But I love the concept of this Oracle. This is a Blue Angel deck, and you guys know I love a Blue Angel deck. It just smells so good. It just smells so good. What can I say? It's written by Tony Carmine Salerno and Leela J. Williams, I believe, is who did the art. And it's just kind of a nice earth-based, generic, keywordy type of oracle with beautiful artwork. But what's really nice about it is the guidebook. It has little tidbits of how these concepts kind of relate to processes of the earth, which may not seem particularly obvious in the image themselves, but the information is in the guidebook, so they do seem kind of human focused, but it is about our human experience on the earth whilst being a spiritual experience at the same time. And it's not, and the first few cards I pulled, it really felt just like they were speaking directly to me. It was very, like, it's got a very conversational writing style in the guidebook, which is nice, and it kind of hit the right spot for me as I was using it, so yeah, really enjoyed those first couple of card pulls. And like I said, it's new, haven't worked with it a ton. These are the backs, very cute. It's matte. It's the giant blue angel cards, but they're not super thick, so you can still shuffle. It's fun. I like them. These are the kind of decks, much like Sacred Rebels, and like your Alice Oracle and your Vampires Oracle, the Jasmine Beckett Griffith ones. They're the kind of decks that I feel like they're with me for a time. Like, I will go through a time in which working with them is most beneficial, and then I will outgrow them. And that is their raison d'etre. Like, the point for me is to move through them. It's to experience them as I need to, and then outgrow my need for them and move on. I feel like a lot of Oracle decks are like that, as opposed to Tarot, which is kind of so universal and so multifaceted. The combinations of messages apply to any situation and meet you where you are, as opposed to this Oracle has a theme that's rooted in a certain emotion or part of life that we're working through. And you'll get to a point where you've moved past it. So coming into a deck knowing that already, that there will come a time where I will move this on and I will be done with it for myself, is important for me to know. But for now, it works. It's tickling my brain in the best way. It's giving me the feels, and it's serving me in a great way right now. And that's all I can ask of it until its time's up and it finds a new home. This was one of the first cards I pulled, actually, is Clarity. She's beautiful. I've been thinking a lot about the nature of truth and what even is truth. That one will get you. That one will send you in an existential spiral, if anything will. What is truth? Who decides what is true? How do you know that what you think is true is true? We only perceive the world based on our sensory abilities and our cognitive capacity to understand those sensory experiences. What about all the other things that are happening that we can't sense or that we can't cognize? Are those not true? I don't know. Oh, my brain, it's been going everywhere these days. So yeah, this one has been helping a little bit with it. So that is the Sacred Earth Oracle by Tony Carmine Salerno, and it was a birthday present to me, from me. I'm 34, by the way, which sounds like a big number. 33 wasn't too bad. I'm like, oh, I'm still in my early 30s, but 34 is creeping towards mid-30s. Gotta do some work around that. I think it'll be fine. We're only as old as you feel, really. Age is but a number. But yeah, just something to think about. Time isn't real. I tend to fall back on that. Nothing is real. If I don't like something, don't worry, it's not real. Fun times. Alright, I also picked up, I think I went kind of mad in the Oracle department. I feel like I was in like an Oracle phase because I picked up some Oracles. I got curious about the Kim Kranz alcamiga deck, the new one, the weird shaped one. Look at it, it's a hexagon, and hexagons are the bestagons. I will link a video about this in the down bar because it's fun, and if you don't know anything about hexagons, you will be learned about them because they are the bestagons. Okay, this was my first Kim Kranz deck. Congratulations, me. I don't have the Animal Spirit, don't have the Wild Unknown, and I didn't at the time have the Archetypes deck. You will see why I say that, but momentarily. However, this deck, I wanted to see, I thought the artwork was delicious. I wasn't like super sold on the shape, but it shuffles just fine. I need to edge it still. It needs black edges really badly, actually. which is odd that I haven't done that yet. Been kind of busy, as I said. It's got beautiful art. I do like the kind of rough collage-y style of Kim Kranz. Like, her artwork is really cool. And this one has a nice alchemy theme. And in reading the guidebook, it does seem like where she's coming from is a place of knowledge, of experience. I like how she talks about her past experiences with a teacher in the realm of spiritual alchemy. Could use a bit more detail, but again, it's just the intro to a guidebook for a deck. It's not like a memoir or a, you know, specific literary experience. It's just talking about the context of why she's making a deck on alchemy all of a sudden. So it's fine, totally get it. But I'm like, I'm curious, I want to know more. It's got the alchemical processes in it. It has all the planets, it has a bunch of metals, it has some other alchemical concepts within it. It's really well done. I only have one bitty gripe with it is all. And I like this card. Contra Naturam. It's got the Latin on one side and then the English on the other, so it's nice. You got both. You can learn a little bit of Latin while you're doing this, but I like how it's like a cold black square in the middle and then like the organic matter on the outside. So you really feel like this is so out of place. Like this is, it makes you uncomfortable. This black square. I don't know, this is such a fun concept, piece of art. Anyway, the main 4 alchemical processes related to like the coloring, like your reddening, your blackening, lightening, and yellowing. Those relatively important alchemical concepts, I would argue. Their names have been changed from the original ones. Mostly, the one that was, I was like, hang on, wait a second. They changed the name of blackening to darkening, and they gave it a Greek word instead of the other word that it had. And I can understand why they did that, but I don't know if it was, I don't know, it feels inauthentic now. Because the Greek word is a word that was never used in any of the alchemical texts, so far as I know. If you do know, let me know down below when I find the card. Here's one of them. Acetum vinegar. Anyway, the void. I love a naked card too. With the emptiness, that terrorizing darkness, the all-absorbing nothingness of, yeah, super cool. All right, so I've dug them out. These are the 4 stages of the alchemical process. Here they have been changed to their Greek, which is odd because it just seems too far back. But anyway, they've named the melanosis for the darkening, leucosis for lightening, xanthosis for yellowing, and eosis for reddening. And their traditional names, book, negrito for darkening, albedo for lightening, citrinitas for yellowing, and rubido. And those are the Latin names. So it's just an odd choice to choose the Greek names that aren't what was referenced in any alchemical texts. And it might be confusing for some people who are just learning about alchemy, which is who I gather is buying this deck. So I just have, I can understand why, it's particularly that one, the darkening, wanting to change that name and then deciding to do Greek for all of them. It just seems inauthentic. I don't know. There's a conversation to be had around this. Let me know what you think. Was the right choice made? I don't know. I'm still pondering, but it does make me a little bit, like, it just doesn't feel, it just doesn't feel, not right. Right isn't the right word, but it doesn't feel like it just aligns with the rest of the deck. It's like, oh, this is new and different. Okay, we're calling them different things now? Okay, cool. Gotcha. It's fine. But it's just weird based on what they were always called in the history of alchemy. So, like I said, fun, great deck, really enjoy having it. There's just that one little thing that, I don't know, it's just a new thing to learn, I guess. Another thing to remember. Oh, yay. But, beautiful deck. I love the art. I love the alchemical concepts. It's got all the planets in there, and each of the planets has their own little mudra because the Planetary Association has a spot on the hand that it's related to, so they made a mudra for that, which is another excellent, great, and deep level. Yeah. And some of them are just beautiful, like this one. Sap of the Moon Plant. Copper. Stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. And laying them out is fun because they're hexagons. So, anywho, that's been a very long-winded talk about the alchemy deck. It's kind of hard to put back in its box when it gets like this too. But again, that's just, it's part of its thing is it's a hexagon, right? Just squish it around. There we go. A little gimmicky, perhaps, but also kind of fun, and I'm not mad about it. So that's my first Kim Kranz deck. And we're gonna give it a go. So far, it's been fun. I've been getting some good pulls with it. We'll see how we work with in future. And I thought after working with that one a little bit, I'm like, she probably actually does a pretty good job of the archetypes deck. So let's give it a go. So welcome my first round deck. So if I were to do the circular decks tag, this is it. And I guess the Luminous Void has like circle bottom tops, but they're not pure circles. So it's more of an oblong oval deck. So it may not even count. So yeah, this is my only circle deck. And so this is the Kim Kranz Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. You've all seen it. It's been around for ages, known and loved. I'm just late to the party as per usual, but that's cool. I don't know, have I mentioned before? I have a psychology degree, so I know a thing or two about archetypes, just via osmosis from years of school. I did a lot of, I loved emotional psychology, cognitive psychology. I did a lot of work with Jung. Jung was one that I naturally liked to study well in school anyway. Happens to apply nicely to tarot. Fun tidbit of information about me. Anywho, so the archetypes in this deck are all very familiar to me, which is nice. So I don't necessarily need the guidebook to work with them. Bonus. But when I do use the guidebook, I do get extra little tidbits of information, which is quite fun. So I find this a very handy deck. Extra bonus archetypes, and some, like when you're using it alongside a tarot, like for example this one, the Lover, this archetype is already included in the tarot. Various facets of it are included in various tarot cards, but it isolates the archetype on its own and really hones in on it, which is I think nice. So if you want to focus the energy of a reading, this deck is great for it. And it's a circle, so you can do the weird directional things, which I haven't really done yet. This one's the Judge. But I can. Oop, the Philosopher's Stone, the stone archetype, that pure thing you're trying to achieve, that magnum opus, the, you know, making lead into gold, creating the Philosopher's Stone, making eternal life, you know, that's it's an archetype. How does it fit into your life? How does it apply to the situation? A fun time. Oh, I got this one recently, the Starborn, with the Orphan card, and it was about a specific situation with my, I cried. This card made me cry. Anywho, the Destroyer, this is the kind of oracle deck I like, with lots of different concepts. You're not going to get the same theme. Each card is its own individual theme, which is great. Very deep, lots of corners to dive into with this one. It's a treat, and I do actually find myself liking the art. I think it looks better in person than it does online. I'll say this is one of those decks that sometimes online it's a bit like distant and muddy, but like when you're actually holding them, it's more clear, you're more absorbed in it, and I like it better in real life than seeing flip-throughs of it online. So I will say that too. It's one of those ones. But got the Maiden, Mother, and Crone in here, the Siren, the Kiss, the Mirror. I got this one. Actually, I got this when I was doing the interview spread for it. Fun. Oh no, it wasn't the interview spread. We were doing a 6-card on Zoom. Just kind of a, it was a check-in with ourselves of some sort. But anyway, yeah, I got the Mirror, and it was like, okay, I get it. It was fun. But some of them are a little bit more vague than others. Some of them are a bit more specific than others. Some of them kind of overlap. You've got some that kind of could potentially be the same archetype, just split, which is okay. But yeah, I think it's unique, it's different. There's no other oracle deck kind of like this. Like, whereas archetypes are embodied in a lot of other decks, they don't distill it down to the essence of the archetype, like get to its core, which is a lot of what Jung's work was doing with archetypes, was just kind of, I don't know, maybe it's like a 20th century science type of distilling the essence of the human experience into individual parts Whereas we all know that life is greater than the sum of all of those parts. But being able to see the parts individually and use knowing them to one's advantage in life is worth doing. There is value in that work. So the Kim Kranz Wild Unknown Archetypes deck, bit of a mouthful, but I got it for my birthday and so far I really like it. So a couple of other things I wanted to mention too. There's some great news. Dmitry, my buddy in Ukraine, he's back working again. He's making tarot bags. So if you ever wanted one of Dmitry from Max Pull Leather's leather tarot bags, I would highly recommend getting your butt out there and getting one now. He's working with an American company called Western Vid that facilitates Ukrainian independent creators and makes it so that their product can be shipped out more reliably, which is great. And just so far, I did a look into the company and they were legit. So I got myself another tarot bag. As I said, I did desperately kind of need one for my Morgan Greer. She was falling apart, so she lives in here now. Gorgeous handmade leather tarot bag. Smells delicious if you are a fan. Really well made. It's gonna stand up forever. Like, it's new now. I can't wait for this to get all scuffed and worn and lived in. I'm going to probably end up taking this bad boy to Greece with me. Which is funny because it just traveled from that side of the world, but I'm going to bring it back in my bag. And I'll get a nice stone from a beach and keep it in here with it. I think that'll just be, yeah. So this is my new Dmitry leather tarot bag, which I treasure. I got this lovely note from him. There's Kyiv right there, the little angel in the middle of the square. So hello from Kyiv, Ukraine. Thank you very much. I hope the package will come quickly despite the situation in my country. Please pray for Ukraine. Best wishes, Dmitry. So just support as much as you can. Breaks my heart, but also I want to be there for them. So thank you, Dmitry. I'll treasure this forever, and I really, really appreciate it. And I guess the last couple of things I want to chat about are a couple of books that I found at the used bookstore. Lining up with my grand trip to Greece, which is coming up in less than a month. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. I'm going for 2 weeks. It's going to be a great time. I start to get into the mood. I want to like set the scene. I want to get my mind ready, brace myself for what's coming, get excited, kind of absorb myself into the culture. And this is a fun way to do it. So this is a trilogy of books written, 40s, 50s. Gerald Durrell. He is an English author, biologist that when he was a kid went to live in Greece with his family. It was a bit chaos, but he had a great time, and it's like classic English literature. So again, this is Greece through the lens of the English, so keep that in mind. But it's fun, and it's a fun like way to experience Greece the way I, a foreigner, also would be experiencing it. So I've seen the film. And I first found this one at the used bookstore. This one's called Birds, Beasts, and Relatives. It's just a fun, quirky, and delightful way to experience the botany of the islands. Corfu specifically is where they go. They're on the west side of the country. And this is the first one, My Family and Other Animals. So it's, again, you get a very funny, funny's not the right word, whimsical, that delicious British humor, situational hilarity just with living with one's family in a new place and the different quirks of all their personalities. It's a delight. So and then this the last one is called Garden of the Gods as well. So just like, my heart, just put it there. That's where I want to be. Delightful. So I've seen the film. Again, it aligns really nicely with just about everything. I've always loved biology. I've always loved Greece. And I've got a penchant for English people too, so it's just, it fits really well. And the film also contains my Matthew in it. He plays Larry, who's not the most likable character ever, but I still like him. Heart of gold, you know? Just misguided. Anywho, so yeah, tucking into those, a delight. Prince Gigi disturbed the calm when his attempts at levitation did grave harm to the grapevine outside the house. Even Mother was put out when Captain Creech insisted on singing a bawdy shanty about a one-balled Paddy from Donegal. But in Gerald Durrell's Corfu, no disaster is serious, no pain lasting. Lyrical, sharply observant, wildly funny, he evokes the rapture of a small boy discovering the world about him and seeing that it is good. Is that not the most beautiful thing? Anyway, excited to read all three. Oh boy. Books, man. Used books. They smell good, they've been through the hands of others, they've found their way into my life for now, and I'm going to get great value from them. And the next book that I'm probably going to read the rest of this month is called The Last Priestess of Malia. It's by Laura Perry, and if I'm not mistaken, she is the author of the Minoan Tarot, which is odd that I have this book and not the tarot, but I'll probably eventually pick it up, but there was no rush. It's mass market. And it's, again, goes its own way. It's a very different experience. And I'm a little overwhelmed right now. Not overwhelmed, but like I've got enough to focus on tarot, and even tarot that has its fingers in Greek mythology and is Greece adjacent for me. So like I'm not in a rush to pick it up. I got time. It'll make its way to me when it does, you know? No big deal. But I am curious about this, and this is a novel that she wrote about priestesses in Crete, ancient Crete, which is where the Minoans had their home base. In this is like pre-Hellenistic Greece. This is where they're the oldest civilization in Greece before the Mycenaeans came and whooped their butt, and then the dark pirates of the sea came and there was a weird dark age for no reason, which no one can explain, and then the Hellenistic Greeks came in and it was more like your classic Athens and Sparta and classical Greece era. So anyway, I think this will be fun. I've read some reviews on it and people say like, oh no, she talks too much about ritual and ceremony, and I'm like, yes, that's what I want. Tell me all of the details of the rituals and ceremonies and the places and the palace. And yeah, I haven't been to Crete yet. I one day would love to go to Crete. Not this time, but eventually. Because it's going to be a beautiful place to experience, but not right now. But anyway, we'll read about it in this book and I will let you know how it goes. So that's by Laura Perry, Last Priestess of Malia. Fun times. Oh, yes, those are the books that I'm tucking into in preparation for my epic, my odyssey, my adventure, which is coming up soon. I've done lots of thinking about things. I'm just packing a carry-on when I go. I'm not gonna do luggage. I'm just gonna put my stuff in a backpack, huck it over there, and just experience the place. Give myself a break, a reset, let my mind relax, be in the world a little bit. I'm so excited. So, thank you so much if you made it to the end of this ridiculously long, rambly video about current tarot whatnots and things and stuff. And I appreciate you greatly. From the bottom of my heart, I really do. So, that being said, I will see all of you fine people in my next video. Bye.